Hey everybody, one of the questions a lot of people ask me is, Pastor Dave, is there a right way to pray? And, or is there a wrong way to pray? I'm going to read something to you that I think you'll find absolutely fascinating. It's by Carol Madison in her book called Prayer That's Caught and Taught. All right, so I'm just going to read this. She said, I stood in front of a large class of adults at my church and wrote prayer requests on the whiteboard as people shared their concerns for others. I then invited group participants by covering the requests in a corporate time of prayer. After the flow of intercession ceased, I closed our time with a wrap-up prayer. As I dismissed the group, a man strode up the center aisle toward me. It was one of those moments when you wonder if you're about to get a hug or a poke in the eye, and it certainly wasn't a hug. You pray wrong, he exclaimed as he pointed his finger and gestured accusingly. I felt awkward and glad most people had cleared out of the room. He marched up to the whiteboard and grabbed a marker. Here's how you pray, he said. He scrawled these words, Lord, I ask that you would blank. Oh, that's wrong, he continued. You need to pray more direct like this. Lord, do this. Please people listen to you and respect you, and you are teaching them to pray without faith. Too stunned to speak, I couldn't think clearly about a rebuttal or a theological perspective about prayer. And then he turned around and confidently walked out of the room, leaving me with swirling thoughts. The accusation, you pray wrong, flooded my mind. I served on the church staff, leading the adult ministries. I often stood in front of congregations during worship service to lead in prayer. Was it true, I thought? And does everyone else think the same way about my prayer leadership? That incident paralyzed my prayer life. I stopped praying out loud, even in staff meetings. For days I wrestled with accusing thoughts and the inability to be vulnerable in prayer. The following week, a close friend stopped by my office to visit me. She didn't attend my church, so I worked up the courage to pose the question I dreaded to ask. Gretchen, do I pray wrong? Oh, for heaven's sake, she replied, that's ridiculous. Instantly, the lie's power over me broke. I realized I listened to Satan's accusation and allowed them to paralyze me. It was a defining moment. I resolved not to let the enemy discourage me or someone else in prayer. If people hope to mature in prayer, they need encouragement to keep growing and stretching, and I am not the judge of their effectiveness. I like what she says here. This is the part I wanted you to catch. She said, that experience turned into the basis of the first lesson I developed for my mentoring group. If mentees walk away with just one key principle in 6 months of mentoring, I want them to grasp this. If you're praying at all, and your heart is for the Lord, you're praying right. Look, it's not a particular prayer style. It doesn't matter how you do it, whether you use prayer lists or whether you like to be spontaneous. What difference does it make as long as you're praying? You're praying right. So be encouraged and keep on praying. All right? Thanks for listening.